And showtime indeed. Welcome to Comic Book Radio. This is episode 48. I'm your host, Peter Cimetti. Tonight, my guest, for real, again, for the first time, it's John MALIN. Can you believe it? He's here. He's waiting in the back, in the green room of sorts. Thank you guys all for showing up. There's so many of you here in the chat here to listen to this conversation tonight that I'm going to have with John. I would get to every single one of you, but then we would be here another hour. So without further ado, let me bring on the man of the hour. That would be one Mr. John MALIN.
I made it.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah, the wife and I were watching this show. I was telling you a little bit about it, called From on Friday. And, for a minute, I was into it. And completely slipped my mind. And Peter reminded me too. He's like, I think it was the day before. Hey, show tomorrow. Everything cool? I'm like, yeah, thumbs up. Well.
And then I'm like, I went 45 minutes, and that was it. Let's reschedule if we can. Yeah. And you were like, holy crap, I forgot.
Yeah, I felt terrible. Yeah, people don't think I feel terrible about things, but I did feel pretty bad about that.
It was genuine. It was genuine, guys. It really was.
So I had an alarm. Faye, my wife, had an alarm set up, apparently, because I told her about it. And then we were watching another round of that From show. And so I had my alarm set for 8:45. Apparently she had one for 8:30. I was like, damn you.
Getting you early.
She was making sure it was going to happen. So.
Well, give her my thanks.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. So we got John here tonight. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things, but especially want to touch base on his comic Godlike that he's got right now. It's in demand. Just give a little shout out to that right there.
No,
we'll talk about that a little later.
Fundraising. Oh, it's fundraising, right?
Oh, it's funding. Look at that. 12 days left.
So,
all right.
Yep. 12 days left, but then 30. So don't stress too bad.
Oh,
guys.
okay. Yeah. That's right. You don't go in demand. That's correct. Right.
Well, it may not be 30. It might be 2 weeks. I'll see where we're at when we're closing it out, but it will be finishing its campaign period to a certain degree.
Oh, very nice. So I do want to, and everybody in the chat, I did give John the heads up about the family friendliness of the show with the one F-bomb allowed.
Yeah,
use it wisely. Billy Tucci came on here, I think within 5 minutes he dropped 2 or 3, and I was like, Billy.
Oh, what'd you do? Did you end the show?
No, we didn't end the show. We kept it going. But he was getting really riled up about the conversation we were having within the first 5 minutes, and he just unleashed 2 or 3 of them. Even though, despite the warning, he couldn't help himself.
Yeah, I'd say it like water. So we'll see how well this plays out.
I guess you can be creative over the course of the night. Maybe substitute something else for it.
My brain doesn't work that quick. That's why I replace intellect with F-bombs.
Just there's a space, right? And you got to feel like you got to fill that space with something, and it usually will be an F-bomb. It's the perfect word, but unfortunately, we do have people that will put this on the TV. They'll watch it with their family, their kids sometime, because they're curious about comics and the things that go on. So we kind of try to steer the conversation, but sometimes things get a little emotional, and an F-bomb will slip, and we'll go into the PG-13 territory. So if you do choose to use it, pick a hell of a time. So John, the other day I saw that you had posted something. You posted your rejection letters from Marvel, and I was really curious about that and what made you want to post that.
Well, people thought I was dying because they're like, "Why is John reminiscing from things from like 2001?"
Do you find that everyone overanalyzes everything you do? Is that a thing?
Yeah, because the truth is much more simpler, and that's that I found this external hard drive right here, and it has old stuff dated all the way back to 2001. And because I was looking for a file for a video edit, and I was like, well, maybe it'd be because I'm having trouble downloading from YouTube right now. So I was like, well, maybe it'd just be easier if I can find the original file. And I went back to that, and then while I'm going through that, I'm seeing like, oh, look at all these old. I got folders within folders within folders. So I'm just kind of, I'm like, oh, okay, memory lane. What's in here? What's that? And then all of a sudden, I started seeing old art, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'll just share this. That looked kind of cool from 20 years ago. That looks kind of cool. And then I saw a photo of my rejection letter, and I was like, oh, there's my rejection letter. Okay, put that up too. So, yeah, that's the only reason all my memorabilia. I'm not dying to my knowledge. I could be, but to my knowledge, I'm okay. So, but I saw that rejection letter, and I know that most people that follow me on the Twitters or the X's is comic book related. So it's good to know that you got rejected.
Now, do you still have those physical rejection letters, or did you get rid of those a while ago?
I probably do, but it's probably in a bin or something like that's either at my home, or it could have been over at my mom's place. I mean, that's the physical letters. Ooh, yeah, I don't know. It's possible that I have them. Maybe one day I'll stumble upon them. So.
At the time when you got those, what was going through your mind?
These guys are definitely going to hire me.
You were determined.
Yeah, I was determined. I mean, I posted an excerpt from one of the letters, and it was like, please don't send any more samples. You know what I mean? So this is like, envelope and stuff. This is before I was sending an email, and then I just never gave up sending shit. So, it took a good long while to really kind of break whomever the people were at Marvel down. But eventually people broke down because I got in. Then and underneath that was a photo of my first check to the envelope. So
yeah. I thought it was a great post because people often, I can't tell you how many times that even in a submission and someone who's very clearly starting out for the first time, and sometimes will even say so, and I try to let them down even easy and say, just because this ain't the right one doesn't mean if you put the time and effort into it doesn't mean that the next one won't work out or one down the line. And people
Marvel was begging me to stop sending it.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty.
Please
it was
don't
look,
send anyone.
Unless you master everything we've discussed.
Yeah,
please refrain from sending.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I know what you're saying. You're playing hard to get. I'll send you another one. Yeah,
do you remember at all who wrote to you with that?
Those were from Marvel, Wildstorm, Dark Horse.
Wow.
And I probably was hitting up some other smaller companies back in the day. I'm sorry, what were you asking?
I was asking if you remember at all who had written that to you to not send anything in.
No, I don't remember the name. Yeah, I don't remember the names of the people. So, I mean, it was probably not too long after that I was moving into email. But even my original email writings were on like Yahoo Mail, and I my password is long lost. So, but I know that when I was working, when I was sending out to Marvel through my Gmail campaign, I had over like 10 years of emails going specifically amongst a number of other editors, Tom Brevoort. And Tom Brevoort, it took about 10 years to break him down to finally put me on something. So,
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Man, oh man. Okay, so now let's fast forward to today. You've got several campaigns under your belt in terms of having pretty great success and people really enjoying the work that you're doing. With Godlike, the Romulus saga, you're writing this as well, right?
Yep.
So, because you didn't write Graveyard Shift.
Nope. I help. I assist along in the writing process of Graveyard Shift.
So what's it been like for you, pretty much being the writer-artist on Godlike?
Love it. Same with being the writer for Omega Storm, where I have Tommy Patterson being the artist. Yeah. I actually enjoy writing. I enjoy the process of going over the drafts again. It's almost like how it was for music for me, and it's odd because I only discovered this later in life. But when I played music, like I was playing bass and a little bit of guitar for just a minute, But it really sucked all my energy out from drawing, because I was like, oh well, playing an instrument, it's great because when you make a mistake, you just pick it right back up and you keep on moving. You know, it's like, oh, okay, mistake, whatever. Next time around it's gonna be better, a little tighter, and you get better and better. And whereas if you make a mistake in the drawing process, it could be laborious. So anyways, yeah, and same with writing, because I was like, okay, well, I can write this stuff down, but then I'm like, okay, well, I can go back through there again, find any little errors, find little places to kind of maybe chop things up, make it a little bit tighter. So actually the craft, I guess maybe the architecture of the story is what I'm really enjoying now. And also trying to figure out what my writing style would be. So like Omega Storm is written in what I would consider more of like a Chris Claremont type style. You're going to get word balloons, you're going to get thought balloons. And,
oh man, sounds like it's right up my alley.
Yeah, editor's note, translated from. Stuff
I love
like
it.
That. Yeah, classic kind of comic book writing. Whereas Godlike is more, it's minimalistic. It's more, there's going to be some more narrative. Then there's going to be a bunch of word balloons and things like that. Now, there will be word balloons for sure, but it's going to be you will get through all of Godlike, which is 70 to 80 pages by the time it's done. You'll get through that thing in probably half an hour. So
that's a hell of a pitch.
Yeah, whereas Omega Storm, which is like 160 pages is Omega Storm. And that thing's going to take you a while. But because I know it's so big, I wrote it, I hope, in a way that it entertains you. So, some of the names are going to be a little, so, when people read it, they'll understand. I'm going to put mature reading labels on these books as well, guys. So, I don't want any of the little kids reading it. This is perfect they're both of them perfect for me at about the age of 14. But for anybody else, parental guidance is suggested. You better read it before you hand it off to your kid. Yeah, fun. A lot of great art. And also, visually difference as well as Omega Storm, which is, again, drawn by Tommy Patterson. That's your standard panels. You're going to get 5-6 panels on a page and move the story along. You can get a splash page, but move the story along. Whereas Omega Storm is laid out in double page spreads, but it's paneled. So it may have 3 or 4 panels on a page. And what kind of the thinking on that was, one, I was influenced by Red Star, a book from Image way back in the early 2000s. But also the idea that, what I think is one of the appealing things about manga is that when you open up a manga, you're looking at 3-4 panels on a page, and there's not a whole lot to it, and you can actually burn right through a manga, because even that the reading it's very 1-2 word balloons.
The visual storytelling is so strong.
Yeah, I think you get a satisfaction. I know that I would if I was going out there and reading manga, because I read comic books, and I read comics because I don't have the attention span for novels. So I get a lot more, or as a kid I got a lot more satisfaction out of comic books. But I can definitely understand the appeal if you can grab a manga, which is dramatically thicker, but you can still burn through this thing, and oh my god. That's a sense of accomplishment, done, taken care of. We did it. We read one book. Whereas a novel, you're gonna be that's gonna be an endeavor for somebody like me. So, anyways, so that was kind of the thinking on how I wanted to design Godlike. I wanted to design it in a way that you would just get through it. You'd get through it, and then we will do the next book, and the next book, and the next book, and then the story's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, just like we did for Graveyard Shift. And when we get 5 books down the road, 6 books down the road, and collect the whole thing, it's still going to be a fast read, but it's still going to be that big art. So I'm really looking forward to where it ends up at.
Do you have an idea in terms of the series length for Godlike?
5-6 volumes is the goal for me to tell this story, but I don't really see any reason for me to ever leave the Godlike universe. I want to keep working there. and Graveyard Shift at the same time. So I mean, these are my two real properties, and they're both like Graveyard Shift has just turned into this massive universe, and when people see Omega Storm, they're going to see it's just huge. So there's plenty of room for me to work in the Graveyard Shift universe from here to my end, and same with Godlike. And just keep having stories going on in these areas that people can enjoy. So, and also, like, one of the bigger plans is, and it may be a couple of years away, is to eventually do the Godlike Graveyard Shift crossover. So bring these two books together. Yeah.
I wasn't aware you were going to do that. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that'll be big. That'll be a really great story. I think right now in early planning, it's something where I'm going to draw a bit. I might draw like the prologue, epilogue kind of type stuff.
Yeah.
And then Tommy may draw the bulk of the book, and we'll see about maybe bringing in other artists or something like that, just to make it get more people involved in it. So tell a big story, not burn anybody out, just make it fun.
I hate to say it, but I'm not really familiar with Tommy's work. Is his work similar to your work? Are you trying to? Were you hiring him thinking on that level, or is it?
No, Tommy Patterson. He's probably closer to like a Greg Capullo in my mind. Greg Capullo meets Ryan Otley, something like that. You know, he's been really close to like the Otley style for a long time. But he did Graveyard Shift Supplemental Volume 3, I think it was, with Phil Diaz, which was a Brahms story. And
okay. So yeah, I am familiar with the work, just not the name though. All right.
Yeah. So, but Tommy has just been getting better and better. Like, him, just the work that he's been doing. Like when he first started Omega Storm, that was actually the first thing I put him on. But then I needed an artist for Phil Diaz's story, so I sidetracked him over there, which ended up being pretty great because he's drawing. Omega Storm is, again, it's a team book, a lot of characters, a lot of work. He's just getting his, the rust off. He's just getting everything back in gear, and it was a lot of work for him to get started in Omega Storm. But then when Brahm came up, it was like a breath of fresh air, I think, because it was a singular character. It was just a straightforward, kind of simpler story. And so then when he came back to Omega Storm, it was like he had leveled up. Like he'd got his mojo. He's like, okay, here we go.
Nice.
Yeah, so really incredible work.
That's awesome, man. Mm-hmm. Now, when you go about, because you're always looking for artists for projects, when you go about looking for them, what are some of the things that go into your decision-making on that?
It gets so tricky, because ideally you would say, well, I want to see that you can do a sequential story, okay. I want to see that you can do a nice little kind of pinup thing. Yeah, okay, you can find that on everybody's thing. But what really ends up being is who has what it takes to actually finish a story. You find that most people are not energized for work, and so they're energized to get the job. But when they get the job, they find a reason to regret the job.
Yeah.
I generally I'll ask people, hey, what's your page rate, and they will tell me something, and I'll say, okay, all right, let's do something together. And then it's like, and then it tapers off. Everything, it just, like you can tell the enthusiasm just goes down. It's like, what's going on? The art that you have on your Twitter looks fantastic, but I can tell right here you're getting lazy. You're phoning these things in. It's not up to par, and they start hinting around about more money and stuff like that. It's like, oh brother. So it's really tricky. But yeah, I mean, good sequentials is the basis of it. Good pinup work. Other than that, I'm really, and I dread it, but I'm really getting to the point of being like, what's your resume? What have you done in the past? What Dude, are you doing that shows longevity?
Seriously, that was the same exact thing that I did the last, I say 6 months of when we had submissions up on Alterna. I wanted to start seeing resumes because I was seeing so many people coming through that I didn't even know if they had life experience on any level. I didn't know if they had work experience. I didn't know if they'd done anything whatsoever. Because the attitudes that would be coming in all of last year in particular, it was so many people that were just, everything was a rush job. Everything was, this is a stepping stone to something. There were so many pitches that revolved around, this is going to be great to pitch to a Hollywood producer. And I'm like, we want to entertain the comic reader first and foremost. You know, worry about the producer part later. If your comic takes off, great. You know, do whatever you want to do with it. But all of these things just geared towards something that's down the line in an impossible way. And then you look at the submission and go, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, it's you're not even close to ready yet, and you want to try to schmooze me about Hollywood. You want to try to say all these other, it's insane. So I started asking for resumes, and even then on the submission, only maybe 40% of them actually followed the guidelines through and even bothered to send in a resume. It's crazy. But yeah, I feel you with that.
Yeah, the resume for me, it'd only make me comfortable to know that you're not someone that starts a project and then drops out of a project. So that's been a plague, I would say. People that get brought on board, because it's a waste of my time to write up agreements, to bring people in. And then once they get started, they're like, it's not for me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what is for you? You know, it's like, what did you think this was? These are superhero comic books. You know, so isn't that what you got in the game for? Oh, no. Because secretly they just want to do Spider-Man. And it's like, well, you need to talk to Marvel about that.
Yeah. Everything's this weird stepping stone. And you're like, so I'm just, I'm just between you and the thing you want to do right now.
Yeah, and that's another thing, right? That's another mental process that happens, is that you hire somebody and you know what they're capable of, because you can see their pinup work, you can see their sequential work. But once they do that, once they get the job, again, the quality starts to decline. It's like they test you to see, hey, can I just turn this into easy money? You know what I mean? Like, can I, instead of me doing all that hard work for all the thing that got me the job, can I just phone this? Is this guy at Sucker? Will he just not notice I phone everything in and I still get paid for this job? Because at the end of the day, if I'm a sucker and you're doing mediocre work, if nothing else, it's a credit for you. There you go. There's something for your resume. You'll never show anybody that book because it's embarrassing, or you should be embarrassed by it. But you know, and I know that it's not your best work. So
yeah, 100%. I absolutely agree. 200-watt studio, thank you for the super chat, says Hail Pete and John, send Kelsey the link. Kelsey will be on the show next Saturday. I'm just focusing on John tonight, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
How have I done on F-bombs? Did I get through okay?
You've been great. You've been great. You even dropped an oh brother, I think, at one point, which was just awesome. Gosh shucks, gee willikers, it was amazing. And if John can control the language, so can you.
It's a filler word, like
Yeah. So, speaking of us, when you have a second to actually have any free time whatsoever, this is the part where we go a little bit away from comics. What do you usually fill that free time with? Is there anything you do for fun?
Yeah, I like to go out and play frisbee golf.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I got a local-ish. I mean, it's about 15-minute drive. Little park down there. I like to go and throw my disc around. Hear those chains rattling. So yeah, I enjoy doing that. Other than the normal, I like to watch TV and movies, and I got a big TV to do it because I'm a lunatic. I really like watching them. So, those motivate me when I find something really good out there, and I'm just like, oh my god, I got to go create something. I got to get something out here, out into the realm, so people are reading this stuff, which I guess brings it back to comics. But I like watching movies. I used to like going out to movies. Not ever since the pandemic. I don't think I've been back to a theater. So
yeah,
I got a big screen TV, and I just started buying things when they were, showing in the theater, and I just buy them on my TV and watch them there. So
I haven't been to a theater since like 2015.
Oh,
So it was even
yeah.
before that. I think the last
Yeah.
thing, holy crap, what did I see in the theater? I can't even remember.
This Dune movie, the new Dune sequel, that's got me tempted to go out. So
Oh, okay. You like the first one?
it grew on me like a like a fungus, because I at first I was like, "Man, this isn't the David Lynch," which I liked. I really did like the David Lynch one, and the changes, and I wasn't familiar with the books or whatnot, but as I was watching it, I really enjoy the architecture. The simple geometric designs of the buildings. I think that's really nice. I think the suits and the characters are all pretty well done. Jason Momoa was surprisingly good. So, yeah, it's grown on me. Zendaya is my only criticism. I don't think she's a very attractive female. And I had hoped that they would find somebody else that is attractive.
I find that there's like the same 10 people in everything right now.
Yeah.
Am I just imagining that?
Momoa,
Yeah. Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet now. Yeah, he's kind of being the guy with this Willy Wonka thing coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. That. I don't have anything nice to say about that. I don't. Well, how do you feel about that?
The Willy Wonka stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really know enough about it yet. So I just don't know enough about it. I know it's a musical, but I guess arguably the original one, where Charlie and Chocolate Factory, I guess, is a musical too. So, yeah, I don't know. I think there might have been some kind of woke talk or something like that about it, but I can't remember what it was. Yeah, I just don't know yet. But I'll probably. I mean, I watched the Johnny Depp one, so I guess I'll probably watch the Timothy Chalamet one. I hope it's good. I'm looking. I guess I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not dreading the Wonka movie as much as I am dreading Joker 2. So Joker 2. First of all, I think Joker 1 was okay. I think it's.
I think it's pretty overrated, honestly.
Overrated. Yeah, I think it's overrated, and I think a lot of people have high hopes for Joker 2. But I don't know where those high hopes are coming from, because now it's a musical. Of all the people they brought in Lady Gaga. You guys like that dance on the steps? Well, how do you like it if Lady Gaga does that dance on the steps? It's like garbage Hollywood sequel crap, and I think all of them know it's just going to be a quick payday.
Yeah, so many of these movies nowadays feel like the SNL trailer. Like they go on Saturday Night Live, and it's a parody trailer of some movie that's just ridiculous and would never really be made, and they put it together, and then but that's real. That's actually what's getting put out, and I see it, and I'm like, wow, really? That's interesting. How far we've fallen.
I think because I was talking about this today with Faye, and I was like, and my mom, because we took her out to a dinner, and she was talking about some Western she had seen. I go, and a series. I'm like, is that the Kevin Costner one? I don't remember which one she said, but it wasn't. But then I was like, well, that Kevin Costner one, Yellowstone, I think it was. I said, that one's really popular, and I think there's a couple spin-offs coming from that right now, So I'm just like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, if they came out with a really good Western movie, that might be it. And that might even be part of Top Gun's success. It's like the superhero burnout. Whereas Top Gun, it compared to any superhero movie, it's completely grounded. And, if somebody came out and did a Unforgiven right now type movie, and please God don't redo Unforgiven, but just a Western that is just really a gut punch. Like I just feel like right now, like the Western genre might be on the brink of like this big comeback, just because people need to get, they need a palate cleanser for a little bit before more superheroes come out. Feels like everyone's getting a little bit of fatigue. Yeah, there's still money being made, but it's kind of fatiguing.
And I think, and I wonder what your thoughts are on it. My thoughts on the whole superhero movie thing is basically that it's borrowing at this point every single thing that's become wrong about the comics. And what I mean by that, it's being crushed under its own weight of this purported continuity that's tying everything together into this universal aspect, so nothing at this point really can stand out too much above the rest, because everything has to feel samey. And then on top of it, you get that whole, well, there's this and there's that and the other thing, and if you don't watch certain things and you don't know certain characters and you don't keep up with whatever, you're kind of lost. You know, so I really feel like that is being crushed under its own weight, whereas before it was kind of fast and loose with various franchises, and even the universe aspect of it seemed pretty tight, but now it's just crazy. It's all over the place. What do you think about that?
I think that because of how frequently we get superhero movies, I think we're going to repeat the mistakes of the comic book industry. In that at first we had kind of these simpler ideas. Hey, here's a Captain America, here's a Thor. Now we're getting into multiverses, and once the multiverses hit, and I arguably we've been in those every time there's been a recasting or whatnot. I mean, look what they did with the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and all that stuff. But now it's just going to become a bigger mess. Like the timelines are going to become bigger messes. Like it's going to confuse people, and it's going to get so far away from anything they initially liked about the character that it's not the same character. You know, like to make a hit character, it's like the perfect cake. It's a measurement of like the sugar and all with the toppings, like the precise measurements.
Yep.
And it takes a real craftsman, a real chef or whatever, pastry chef, you know, to make that. It's an artist. Now, once they've made that cake, they can write down all the ingredients and say, here's how you make this cake. And you can probably make that cake pretty well. But once you start saying, you know what? I think you use too much sugar. I think we can put in a little bit
messing with the recipe.
Yeah. I think we could take out some of these strawberries, you know, save a little bit of money. I think we could do this. I think we do that. And before that, you get anybody else's non-award winning cake. So when you get too far away from what made these things stand out for 30 years, 40 years, and you turn it into just blah, who cares? Who cares? You're just another pastry chef. Who cares? You're not that artist, and it's not even that artist recipe anymore. So that's where I feel like we're going with all of these movies. It's just going to become garbage, trash, and that's fine. Because you also have to keep in mind that who should be the audience for a Marvel film should be an 8-year-old kid, or that's going to get the Spider-Man cheats and the Spider-Man pajamas and the wallpaper, whatever. I mean, that's who it should be. And a lot of us are old guys, and we're getting kind of, but even that kid is going to get confused because he's going to be like, "Who's Spider-Man?" Wait, what happened? Wait, who? What?
Which one?
I don't know. Yeah, who did what? Wait,
yeah.
wasn't he? Didn't that? It's too much of a mess. It's too crazy.
Yeah. Whereas like we grew up, Spider-Man instantly, Peter Parker.
Right.
Yeah. And if you have Spider-Man 2099, which that was the name, then you're thinking of a different Spider-Man. But Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Superman, Clark Kent. So all of a sudden you have this multiverse aspect, and you have every single thing. And then with the films, it's even more annoying when it's like these films that have had nothing to do with any of this at all, and then they're bringing it back, and it's like, oh no, this was part of the fold. The entire. When does it end? When does it end? It's insanity. Yeah. Joe Boo, thank you so much for the super chats. Says, hail guys, keep up the good fight. Comics and great stories are magic. We need this. Two of my favorite people here tonight. In the chat or on the screen.
Thank you, Joe Boo. Yeah.
Thank you, Joe Boo. Appreciate it.
Yeah, right. It's two of his favorite people in the chat tonight. Hail Jubu's friend.
So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. John, can you make it up to me for being not there the other day and give me an extra half hour tonight and we do an hour and a half show?
You got it.
All right. Fantastic. So we'll take a quick break. We'll show a couple trailers. You guys are watching Comic Book Radio. I'm your host, Peter Cimetti. My guest tonight is John Malin. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
The Civil War was America's bloodiest conflict. Over 500,000 died to preserve national unity. When the war ended, Confederates like Harley Brogdon headed west, shooting game for the Army and gambling. When a card game turns deadly, Harley shoots in self-defense, killing the card sharp who threw down first. Wilfred Knorr, the card sharp's wealthy father, will stop at nothing to see Harley hang. Harley flees to Cobb's Gap, an old silver mining town at the foot of the Rockies. A remarkably peaceful town, especially after dark. But the sheriff harbors a dark secret, and no one dares go into the mines anymore. Cobb's Gap is full of secrets. People speak in hushed tones of something in the mine. Something worse than their cursed sheriff. Something even the Indians fear. Tired of running, Harley falls in love with a local widow with secrets of her own. But when Knorr's posse arrives seeking vengeance, the stage is set for a showdown with unimaginable horrors from the deepest pits of hell. And every secret will be exposed. Eisner winner Mike Barron and acclaimed illustrator Pat Broderick present one of the weirdest westerns that Comic Dom has ever seen. Bronze Star, a thrilling tale of love, revenge, and supernatural terror from the minds of two legendary creators. It's not the monster you're looking for. Order your copy at bronzestarcomic.com.
All right, welcome back to Comic Book Radio. My guest tonight is John MALIN. John, what was the inspiration for creating Godlike? How did that story come about?
Well, I mean, it's my oldest idea, kind of reimagine. Because back when I was probably in my late teens, I'd created something called the Romulus, and it was named after Romulus, like Detroit Metro's in Romulus. So, because I heard it on a radio one night, like some caller, I'm Cheryl from Romulus, and I was like, Romulus, that sounds cool. So it wasn't directly Romulus and Remus type things. But then it evolved. It became the Romulus Saga. Actually, I have this on my desk. This is one of the older versions of it.
No, hold on. Let me make you full screen for a second.
It's okay. Well, so look at that great font. Anyways, so it became that, and then I started developing Project Thundar, which was something that was going to be basically a story kind of inspired by Thundar the Barbarian, and in a much broader sense, like all the cartoons of the 80s that I like. And so that became Godlike, the Romulus saga. And so the Romulus, from what it initially was to what it is now, has evolved about 3 times. So, but now it's kind of the Force, but it's also a title for someone that can, harvest the Force. So the Romulus is, basically the champion of humanity. So it comes about basically when humanity needs a champion. It isn't necessarily good or evil, but it is there to fight off whatever threat there is. And so my story, Godlike, is 10,000 years in the future, and it's the very end of humanity. And people are basically worshiping this sword, which creates the Romulus, because it's almost built into their religion. Because
kind of like an Excalibur sort of thing.
Oh, it's very much like Excalibur, but right. So like if you're looking at like the mythos, you'd say Excalibur is probably the Romulus. So it's this magical thing.
Nice.
So it can manifest a little bit differently depending on who you are. But the sword is like the main channel for the power. So but the problem is if you grab it and you're not worthy, it's not that you can't pull it from a slab. It kills you. So there's only the right person can ever harness it. And it's basically like, it's, are you the right guy? And that could be any number of factors, your mentality. But again, it's not that you're necessarily good or evil, but can you get rid of the threat? So, so anyways, all humanity is at its end, and people are desperate. They're all bundled up in a city, and people are starting to pull the sword and die. And then our hero comes by, and he's a old type general, an old warrior for these guys, and he's been exiled, and he shows up for this kind of final battle, and he doesn't want people to grab it. He's like, you're better to me out there on the battlefield, like more use. And but there you go, someone's gonna grab it. But then the fight happens, and so it's gonna things are gonna happen that's gonna put our guy in a situation. And then eventually he's going to have to pull the sword. It's not a big surprise that he pulls the sword. It's on the cover that he's in the armor. But basically he gets the power of the Romulus. So, and then it's going to be much more. This is like the origin story. And then it's going to be much more about the fight. So, how do you get out of from where you're at, and how do you resolve this issue? So,
I love that you're crafting the mythos like that. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Are you interested in mythology and things like that?
I am, but I hate to act or pretend that I'm some deep thinker on any of this stuff. Like I know all the tropes basically. So where I'm gonna, what I'm trying to connect certain dots, but it's my own made up history. So no one's gonna be like, that can't happen because this. So I'll say you're wrong because I said it happened this way. So. Anyways, yeah. So don't go looking too deeply into this stuff. Yeah. Well, you can look deeply into it, but if you're looking for it on a historical, technical level,
to connect with.
Yeah. It's more like what I've told people is I almost want people to kind of be a little bit. I almost want to be a little bit more David Lynchian with it, in that I'm not trying to give you all the answers, and that's something with another problem with us streaming, because like you're always tempted, when someone says, "Hey, what about this?" and then you're going to want to be like, "Well, let me explain it for you." I really don't want to explain it for people, because I respect David Lynch, because he kind of just brushes these off, and he's like, you need to come to your own conclusions on it. And when you explain something to death, you lose the magic of it. So I don't want to go too much into the details. I want the story to unfold the way that I'm planning it to unfold. And, again, it's not for kids. I think a 14-year-old is going to understand it enough to have a good, entertaining time. The art should, hopefully be, attractive to them. And, but yeah, in terms of all the deep answers of what I'm going for, I'm not going to give those. So you're gonna have to work for them, and maybe find out what I'm trying to do. So
yeah, I like that. The thing is, it's tough in my situation when I'm talking about King Cryptid, because it's a series I've got planned for many years to come, with many issues already being mapped out. And I love talking about the characters and what's to come, but there's a lot of things I gotta go, can't talk about that yet. I want readers to discover that for themselves. It's tempting, though. You ever have that temptation to just be like, to spill the beans, and you gotta
I've held back on any information of Godlike for, I mean the initial campaign was in 2021, I think. So, people, I haven't even said what his real name is yet, because I'm just like, yeah, I got a name. I like the name. I think it's clever, and I'm gonna save that for the reader. Yeah. So I think that's Clayton. He says John Malin is a huge fan of Ancient Aliens. That's where his stuff comes from. Yeah. So actually, when I got the name Godlike, I was watching Ancient Aliens, and I was under the influence. We'll say family friendly, under the influence, and I kept hearing over and over again on this one episode, and I think the one episode was on, like, superheroes, basically. Of course, because I'm dumb.
Yeah, the one with Dan DiDio's on that too, right?
Could have been.
Pretty sure he talks
but he
yeah.
they kept saying throughout the course of that episode, Godlike. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. I know. All right. It's gonna be Godlike. It's the universe reaching out and telling me to make it Godlike, so it's gonna be Godlike. So it's Godlike the Romulus Saga is what it is. And but yeah, I mean, there's definitely Ancient Aliens influence in there. So
I friggin' love Ancient Aliens. I think I've seen the whole series like 4 times. I just have it on the background. I just love
like
it.
The idea
it's fascinating. Yeah. Whether it's true, it's not. I mean, some of the stuff I think is true. Some of the stuff is absolutely true. Some of the stuff I'm like, I don't know about that. But it's interesting as all hell.
Yeah.
So
it gets people to think that that's a good thing.
Yeah, especially
think creatively.
For me, I've always been interested in the paranormal and the unknown and things like that. Is that the same for you?
Sure. Yeah, I think because we're into comics, I think that's most of us. Yeah, I mean, I have fun with it more than I believe it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not someone that thinks that my house is haunted, or my mom thinks the house she grew up in was haunted. I think it's an old house. You know what I mean? So, I don't believe this stuff, but I have a lot of fun with them, and I like to hear the ghost stories. I like to hear, what happened with who saw Bigfoot. When I was a kid, I used to like the Inquirer, or whatever, with the Bat Boy and just read all these crazy, it's not true, but a part of you is just like, where was he? Like, what part of the city?
Yeah.
So I have fun with that stuff, but I can't. I have a wall stopping me from actually getting into the craziness of it. But I do enjoy it as entertainment for sure.
Have you ever experienced anything?
Oh, paranormal?
Yeah. That you just couldn't explain.
No. I've heard people's stories of things they couldn't explain, and but I went to one person's house and there's a patch of grass that didn't grow, and they're like, that's where the previous owner had committed Minecraft, and it's like that's where their stuff went, and so no grass grows there anymore. I was like, oh, okay, but I was like, this is just kind of weak logic to me. So, but yeah, I haven't had anything that I can think of in my life directly where I'd be like, yeah, that's definitely paranormal. Maybe if I believed in paranormal activities, I might put that in that box. Like, oh my god, I heard something. Nobody was there. Couldn't have been anything else. It had to have been, Patrick Swayze.
Exactly. Coming behind you to help you make pottery.
Yeah, I think if you want to believe, I think it's easier to find and put things in those boxes. If you guys have ghost stories and you guys believe in ghosts, that's great. Love to hear them, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna get into it much more beyond, man, that sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, I want
to be there for that.
I've heard a couple odd things. There was something when we moved here about 6 years ago. It was probably the first 2 weeks we were here. Around 3 a.m. It's always around 3 a.m. I hear a noise. We're on the 3rd floor of the apartment complex, and I hear a noise that's like this. Right? And it's shaking the whole apartment. And
it's the kids with the speakers.
Yeah, and right? And then 30 seconds goes, and it's like that. That's what it sounded like. Now, I don't know, because also allegedly, if it's real UFO, it doesn't really, it's not supposed to make any noise. It could be man-made, because we do have Pease International military airport over here. We see military stuff all the time. But it was a weird noise. And I can't explain it, and it's a very strange thing. I never heard a noise like that in my life. Then the other stuff that I've experienced is like sleep paralysis stuff, which is a very common thing. You ever experience any of that?
No, but yeah, that's much more, medical. People are getting, waking up. They can't move. They can't react, and sometimes they see
weird.
Things.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen weird shadow people things. Yeah. But other than that,
yeah. But I mean, once you've done, I'm trying to keep it family friendly. Once you've done, a certain amount of recreational.
Once you've had a little too much fun.
Yeah, when you had too much fun with certain things, and you've seen certain things from that, I feel like, to me, again, my brain says, okay, well, it's possible for you to see that from just this. So when these other things are going on that would put you in a state of paralysis or whatnot, like, it's very possible that you're experiencing something else chemically. So, you know, the brain is a great mystery. I know there's like one challenge, like, you know, when I used to watch these, you know, just back in the 90s, all the, you know, paranormal stuff, and they had, they said whenever people would have the medical, right, you're floating from your body, that they would write things like on top of countertops, or I'm sorry, up on cabinets, you know, and or they'd have a clock up there that you could only see if you were floating. And you know, anyone who's ever had that experience has never been able to identify any of these markings up there. And I believe they said that there was a drug. It might have been something like the DMT stuff or something like that happens when you're, like, a natural occurring thing when you're about to pass, and that when people are on these recreational activities, that they experience is essentially the same thing. So I want to believe, like, Mulder. Is it Mulder or Scully? The guy. I want to be
Mulder.
The guy. Yeah, Mulder. I want to believe, like, Mulder.
Scully's the infuriating one where a million things happen to her, and she's still like, but I don't know. Is it real?
Yeah, she's seen it all. She's like, oh, no, maybe it's real. Yeah, so, yeah. I'm Mulder, I guess. I'm Scully, I guess, actually, you know, because, like...
You're kind of a mix of both.
Yeah, you could show me
which I think is good.
You can show me the ghost, but I'm going to look for the wires.
It's good to be a healthy skeptic. Yeah. To be a dismissive skeptic, I think, is where you go down the wrong path. But to be a healthy skeptic and to be like, all right, you know, that's fine, but I do need some concrete proof.
I am 100% open to the idea of Bigfoot walking out of the woods one day. And,
totally.
You know, aliens landing, you know, over Washington, D.C. Yeah. I'm open to it. I don't think it's happened. I don't think it will happen, but it might.
Allegedly, they've flown several times over D.C. There's something like, I think, in the 50s. There was that weird thing. You ever hear of that story with that the alien that met with Eisenhower, allegedly? Valiant Thor?
Valiant Thor?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
He was this humanoid alien from Venus, and he was here for a couple of years and allegedly had met and talked with Eisenhower several times. To the point that Eisenhower was going to have a meeting with, like, some I don't know if it was the UN or someone else, but that they were going to do it, and then, like, a couple weeks before that, they decided to put the kibosh on it. And it kicked off everything.
Now, was that a code name, or was that what the alien said his name was?
That was what the alien said his name was. Yeah.
It's so
a hell of a story.
Yeah. But my cats, though, are named Art and Bell. So it's Art
there you go.
Bell.
Yeah, coast to coast.
Right. I mean, a little nod. Again, I'm not like a super fan of Art Bell, but I can enjoy it. So...
You named your damn cats after him,
I want to hear the Area 51 tales. I want to hear what is going on in the world of crazy. I'm for it. I'm entertained by it.
Yeah, no, it's great, and yeah, I like I said, there's definitely some things that I believe are true. I mean, UFOs. That's the thing. People oftentimes it's like UFOs. They're not real. Well, UFOs are 100% real. It's just whether or not they're extraterrestrial.
Right. Yeah.
That's the part.
I'm
like,
all for squatching. If anybody wants to go squatching,
heard him.
Like, that's my mentality. I will go squatching with you. Like, we will go out in the woods and we will try to track down Bigfoot. And,
get a couple dozen Krispy Kremes.
Yeah, I'm gonna
put
bring
them strategically
food
throughout the woods.
Yeah, the food's for me. I'm gonna have a good time. I'm like, yeah, let's find Bigfoot. Let's go ahead and do it. But I got to find someone that knows how to, go through the forest. I can't. I'll get lost.
You'll die out there.
I have zero survival instincts that don't involve electricity.
Yeah, that's that, and that part too is very interesting to me, because many people out there in the elements in the woods, like we'd be reduced to nothingness. Animals are out there, just that's their life. That's what they do day in, day out. Us, we'd be out there, and you're lucky if you can survive 2 or 3 days.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, my brother-in-laws, like, they're all hunters and trappers and stuff. So me and the wife, we'll go hang out with her brothers. We'll get
there. You go.
We'll bring some guns, and that's about it. So
you're a little more adept.
I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to learn now. Show me how to kill a deer.
We have to survive. Blue Teddy says, "Wait, is it actually called squatching?" Yeah, it is called squatching. Yeah, when you go out there to go find a Bigfoot, yeah, it's called squatching. That's allegedly what Patterson and Gimlin were doing, and then they found a Bigfoot, which is quite suspicious.
Yeah. Well,
the very thing we were trying to do, we did it.
We did it. And
it's a hell of a if it's a costume, it's a hell of a costume. I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, it's fun to look at.
Totally.
It's fun to hear people argue over it too. Like that's just it. I don't have a dog in the race. Like I don't really care. I want to hear it. I want to hear, what are both sides of it, and then I'm going to go about my day. I'm not really overly invested in any of the outcomes. I like that, the new stuff with the guy who's talking about the Rashat structure in Africa, the supposed true location of Atlantis.
Oh yeah.
That's fun.
A lot of the ancient locations, that's great stuff. And so much of it's crazy where they're finding things that are thousands upon thousands of years older than they thought human civilization even could possibly be to get to that point. And then watching the established scientists squirm.
Yeah.
Trying to come up with excuses of how
like the
really,
Sphinx. Like the Sphinx is like older than shit, and like there's all these
it's like 20,000 years older than originally projected.
It's crazy. So that's a lot of fun. Yeah, the Sphinx is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. That's great, man. I had no idea that you were into any of that, even on like a fun piquing your interest level. Look at that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I gotta draw inspiration from somewhere. So yeah, that, and I don't know. I mean, I really like kind of nerdy things, and I like all the ancient aliens, and it's just fun. I like having that is enjoyable to me. So yeah, so that is definitely seeping its way into my material. But I also like Quentin Tarantino. So that also seeps its way into the material that I'm doing right now. So
what do you think would be the biggest influence on your work? In terms
writing
of,
or drawing?
Man, let's do both. Yeah, writing and then drawing.
Probably Mark Miller, Quentin Tarantino, in terms of that kind of bombastic, over-the-top punch in the stomach. I think those are really big for me. I'm probably pulling from people that are writing in cinema, just movies that I've liked over the years and storytelling that I've liked over the years. Artistically, I'm definitely on the comic book level. It's Rob Liefeld, Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Travis Charest, Will Spertasio, all these guys. I think everyone's noticing more Spertasio nowadays in my work, which is great. And he's also someone that I'd like to get to do a cover for Godlike. So I'm going to be looking into that next year.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man.
So
yeah, if that's possible, that'd be great.
Yeah, his work is incredible. So I'd be blessed to get a Will Spertasio cover. So, but yeah, so along there, but just stories. Movies are mainly my stories. So all the good movies I've ever watched or watched twice, be it something like Aliens. I mean, James Cameron is actually people always say, "Oh, John likes Michael Bay because things blow up." I do like Michael Bay because things blow up. But I also like James Cameron. He's good at it. I also like James Cameron. I think James Cameron is where you want to be. If I could be half James Cameron and half Michael Bay, that'd probably be where I want to be. To be able to really care about the story, the acting, but also make sure that there's great explosions and that I'm not putting people to sleep. So, and again, that's kind of the challenge for Omega Storm. Again, 150-60 pages. And how do you get someone to go through that and not feel like, oh my God, this is a long thing? Well, you gotta punch it up. you gotta have those beats in there that are like, oh, and then when
keep that pacing going.
Yeah, and when things are slowed down, you have to have something in the dialogue to kind of keep people engaged. A little bit of humor, and move on through it. But yeah, I think with Omega Storm, it's a lot of oh shit moments, and we're getting closer. Actually, I brought this up here the other night. These are my cards I just got. So I'm getting all my Omega Storm cards in. I haven't looked at these yet, so let me take a pop. This should be a foil cover or a foil card. Yeah, it is.
All right, let me make you a full screen here.
Look at this guy. Foil. So this is what people got on the
nice.
The secret perk guys. They all got foil cards, and I'm not sure if any of the regular people got one, but these are normally reserved for people that signed up for the mailing list. But if you sign up for the Godlike mailing list, which is running right now, the Godlike campaign, back something from that secret perk, because then you're going to get one of those foil trading cards. So, but yeah,
awesome.
So we're getting stuff in for Omega Storm. We're going to start fulfilling that here probably within a month. We're just waiting for the colors to get done. Eric Weathers is lettering everything right now, but he'll be done before the colors are done. And then that bad boy's off the press. And then we'll be tightening up the script for Godlike, and then that'll be heading off the press. So there we go. Man. Everything's looking good.
So I think I missed out on Omega Storm.
Yeah, it's possible. We ran it last summer.
Man, that sounds right up my alley. Are you offering that again at all? Is there any way to get that?
Oh yeah, whenever we get around to another graveyard shift, I'll probably offer up whatever I have left out of the stock. So I don't try to overprint much of anything. So once the stuff is gone, then I get around to trying to get it all into a collected edition. But since Omega Storm is technically it's Graveyard Shift Supplemental Volume 4, I believe, maybe 5. It might be Volume 5. But it's 150. 60 pages, so it's massive, where the supplementals are normally only like 50 pages.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so when I get around to doing a collection of all the supplemental materials, I was planning on doing them all in one big book. So now with Omega Storm, that would be a really big book. So yeah, I will never do one that big again, believe that. It's 150 pages. I could have done part 1. I could have broken it into 50-page stories. Like part 1, part 2, part 3, and we could have been fulfilling this stuff just throughout the year. One campaign, another campaign, another campaign, and everybody would have been nice and happy. But because it was 150 odd pages, it just becomes monumental. It's way too huge, and it would have been much more profitable to do them in smaller campaigns. So that's my advice for everyone to consider.
Yep.
When they think about doing a huge book like that. So even Godlike, it was only going to be 48 pages, and that thing's ballooned to almost 80 pages right now.
Wow.
So, yeah. So my next year, my goals are to really kind of bring all this stuff back down to that 50-page mark. With Graveyard Shift, we can't do that necessarily because the book that Tommy is drawing right now is, I think it's 70 pages long. So... but then after that, we'll be trying to get everything reeled back to 50 pages, and then everything.
Is that your sweet spot? Quicker. You find around 50
just,
pages?
I think things just start falling off the wheels. When, when you're dealing with inkers and colorists and delays and stuff like that. 50 pages is a lot more manageable. So for me, at least, I'm in a position, thankfully, where I could just fund the art, the line art itself. Out of pocket, and then do the fundraiser, which would cover the colors and reimbursing on the expense of the art, then fund the colors and the shipping. So I think that's a lot easier than going up to 150 some odd pages, because especially with the more people that you have involved. So Tommy's doing pencils, we had other people coming in and doing inks. Delays are happening here, there, colorists. It became a lot. So just to pull it all together and make sure that it stays cohesive was probably the biggest challenge on it. So, but right now, Anthony George is coloring up the last probably 20 pages at this point. And I think he said he'll probably be done in about 20 days. So,
oh, wow. Great. Mm-hmm. Very nice. All right, so this is the part of the show, since we got about a half hour left, I'm going to put a link in the chat. If you guys want to join the show one at a time, if you got a question or comment for John tonight, feel free. There's the link right there, and we'll see. Again, questions or comments for John, not for me. We want to make sure we focus on the guest tonight, and that is Mr. John Malin. Bearwolf says, Godlike Romulus Saga, exclusive variants, 52,963, 551 backers.
Wow, thank you, Bearwolf. Bearwolf's great. Everyone should make Bearwolf a mod, because he's always out there giving those updates on how much is raised, how many backers. And then I modded him, and then he was giving the link out all the time.
Very nice.
Yeah, so this is our second chance campaign. So the first campaign did like $258,000 or so. Combined, we're over $300,000 now. This is Dale Keown variant. Dale Keown was, I think, is in everyone's top 3 of Incredible Hulk artists of all time. So he also went on to do his own character, Pitt, for Image Comics in the 90s, which I was a huge fan of. And so I was able to get Dale Keown to draw this. I said, can you draw Pitt fighting my guy? And he said, yeah. He probably flexed like this when he said it. So he does that a lot. But anyways, yeah. So he ended up drawing this, and it looks spectacular. I have the original artwork right here. Look at this stuff.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. What?
I'm going to put it in front of the mic.
Wow.
Yeah, and he draws
Holy
insane.
smokes.
Like his process is he pencils it, then he inks it, which is pretty traditional. But then he does an ink wash over it to start getting in gray values. Then for some reason he goes over it with a pencil again. And then after he does all that penciling, then he takes like a white paint marker and he hits little bits of white for the hot spots.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, and then then Kyle Ritter went in here and colored the cover for this right here, and it looks fantastic. Big thanks to Dale and Kyle.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I've been trying for weeks to get in touch with Dale to have him possibly do a T-shirt of King Cryptid.
Oh,
but
nice.
Dale ain't responding.
Yeah, no. Don't take it personally, man. Don't. Look, it took me a year and a half to get this cover going. Now, he got back to me relatively quickly. I don't remember if it was a delay or anything like that, but Dale's in his own kingdom.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't take it personally.
We gotta wait.
He's great.
Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah, that would be incredible. He'd kill it.
Man, oh man, very nice, man.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah, these are my interiors. This is my drawing, and a colorist named Ben Smith coloring it. So, yeah, I'm working very hard on this book. And that's the sword right there. If you scroll down just a little bit more. There you go, right there.
Nice.
So that's everybody gathering around, getting ready to see this thing get pulled. So, and then
that would have been fun to have as a kid. You know, one of those toy swords, like the Sword of Omen style, or yeah.
Yeah, and same thing, man. I mean, this sword is Excalibur. To me, it's Excalibur. It's a Sword of Omens. It's He-Man's power sword. It's all of those things in one. So even if you look at it, the sword is long, but scroll down real quick to that next image.
Sure.
And you see right there, Sword of Omens. Look how short it is. Yeah, so it can get longer, it can get shorter. This is just it. Like I said, it's this book is really it's a love letter to the cartoons in the 1980s. Black Star, he had the sun sword and a star sword. I don't know. So I mean, all that stuff from the 80s, and Thundar had the sun sword. Yeah, that's.
You remember Galtar? Remember that one?
I remember the name. Do they yell it or something? Galtar.
Yeah. It was kind of like a mix of all of those, like the Conans and the He-Mans, and a little bit of like a Flash Gordon vibe to it too, in some ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I apparently liked that as a kid, although I haven't seen it since. I just remember the name now at this point.
Yeah, no, like I have Amazon Prime, so I've gone back and I bought Thundercats and Silverhawks and He-Man.
Oh, nice.
Because I'm just like, what is it about all this stuff when I was a kid? What attracted me to these characters and these types of figures. So, just going back and seeing what was what. Everyone knows I love Voltron. You're not.
Yeah, man. I gotta tell you,
much of Voltron in
I
here,
wore my Voltron shirt for you on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody loves my Voltron story. But Voltron is there is a nod to Voltron in Omega Storm. So when you guys get that book, I think it's funny. But
nice.
Yeah, it's in your face too. So I mean, you can't miss it. Once the book is out, I'm sure people will share it because everybody knows my Voltron story.
Yeah.
But yeah, Omega Storm should make you laugh. I think it's got much more of my humor in it. Whereas Godlike is much more like just if you ever wanted to do a Thundar the Barbarian comic your way, right away, then Godlike is kind of that. With all my influences thrown in there. I said when I called it Project Thundar before I released the name I said I want it to be a place where you can have sword and sorcery and but it wouldn't be out of place if there were robots and a cowboy showed up. So essentially, you kind of get these things if you actually go through and get Godlike, the main book, and the supplemental, because there's a Western story in there.
Yeah, very nice, man. Awesome. Eccentric, thank you for the super chat. Says St. Malin keeping Comics Gate clean and respectable. Keep up the good work. There you go.
Thank you.
And looks like we got a couple people waiting in the green room to chat with you for a minute or two. So let's bring them on. We got just Kevin Ryan. What's up, Kevin Ryan? How are you doing tonight?
Kevin Ryan, hell.
You're muted.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up?
Yeah.
What's your question or comment for John tonight?
Well, let's see. If I had one question for John, I didn't expect to wind up in the back room, but John, once upon a time, you made a video about me being branded by Mike Miller. Do you have a copy of that? I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I think it's still up somewhere. If you go to my YouTube channel and just go MALIN, there's a playlist for MALIN After Midnight. I think all of them are up there. If it's not up there, let me know. I'll try to figure out if I still have it and why it's privated. So
and a more general question, because I didn't want to make it that personal. What are your influences for old school comics? Like, because I know you're into 80s cartoons and that. How about old school stuff? Silver Age, Bronze Age? No.
I mean, look, I like John Byrne, but I mean, to me, he was an old guy. Like, when comics really hit, it was like right around 1989. I mean, I saw the Michael Keaton Batman, and that kind of was starting to really like get me going. My brother shoplifted a bunch of comics, and that broke the walls down, and I was like, oh my god. Because I was drawing Ninja Turtles for my little brother at the time. I didn't have any focus. My little brother wanted Ninja Turtles because I drew. I'm like, okay, here's Ninja Turtles. So I learned how to draw from a coloring book. I'm like, okay, oval, circle, mass, like that's a turtle. All my influences are primarily through the 90s. So it's almost everyone that went to Image, and that's what was crazy about it for me. Because I was like, when Image happened, I was like, these are all the guys I like.
All in one place.
I was like, they all know each other? These guys are friends? They're all friends? They weren't friends, but they did know each other, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they tried to make us think of in the old days with Marvel. Everybody was sitting around in a room. It's kind of one of the reasons I like comic book or Comics Gate. It makes for a good communal experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're usually all sitting around in a room. It's just our own individual rooms.
This is true. This is true.
Oh yeah. A lot of hours are spent in here, on and off camera. So I'm drawing in here and doing my thing. So this is where I work and play. I guess if this is play, then this is where I play.
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin Ryan, for your question tonight, man. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you have a great night.
Thank you,
too,
Kevin.
Pete. Thank you.
All right, up next we got, and I don't know what to make of this. I'm keeping my finger on the trigger here, though. Don't Call Me Junior. How you doing tonight? Are you there? Don't Call Me Junior. You got... You're muted? You just muted yourself. Are you okay?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Oh, can hear you now. Yep.
Oh, hey, what's up? John, I was just wondering if you know which cons you're going to be going to next year.
I'm going to be announcing at least one, I think, by November. So, but it'll be plenty of time for everybody to get on board if they want to go and check it out. Actually, maybe October. Yeah, maybe it'll be announced in October. So, yeah, just keep, if you're on my YouTube or my Twitter, then you'll find out. But everyone should have, I don't know, a good 6 months of planning to show up to it. So, yeah.
Wow.
Okay. And then were you going to do, is For the Fans Fest still on, or is that?
So, every time, now I'm not involved in any of the planning or whatnot. I could be, but it's not something that's on my to-do list. So, For the Fans Fest, last I heard, it sounded like it was going to end up becoming more like a meetup, which is fine. If that happens, then my plans are to go to it. So in whatever form it happens, initially people were talking about making it like a small convention, which is cool, but I think people are just so desperate for it to happen, they're willing to go, hey, let's just meet up and call it For the Fans Fest. But yeah, so if For the Fans Fest happens next year, I'll be there. And if it happens, that'll be a third event that I'm planning to attend. So at least 2 conventions next year and whatever For the Fans Fest is. Other than that, I have considered going out and just kind of traveling and showing up. I actually mentioned like Yellowstone. Be like, hey, if anyone wants to go to Yellowstone, meet me. We'll find a spot to meet up and have drinks, have a good time, say hello. Just a much more kind of personal. I would think maybe 5 people will show up, but that's perfect. Like, hi. If anyone wanted to meet me, here we go. We'll find a little eatery. We'll go to a restaurant. That's fine.
Yeah, I heard you were thinking about doing something like local in Michigan, like pizza and beer or something like that. Is that a possibility?
That's always a possibility. Nothing this year. People want me to go to Motor City Comic Con. I don't really like. They have one in November. I'm not planning on going to that. Ethan had kicked around the idea of going for whatever reason, and I said, well, if you get a booth, I'll get a booth. But I don't believe he's actually going to Motor City Comic Con. But maybe next year I could swing by maybe for just to kind of meet people up. I think it's in like March or something, January, February, March. Yeah, maybe May. So if there's Michigan, are you Michigander or local or?
No, I'm in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was thinking about, like, I've never been to Michigan, so if you were to do it, I might actually head out for it. We missed you in Tampa. When I saw the stream that you said you were heading down, I was super excited. I was actually watching a replay sitting in the airport heading to Florida, thinking, oh, I'm going to get to meet Malin too.
Oh shit! Well, sorry about that, but
no, it was fun.
Hopefully you had a good time.
No, it was great, man. It was awesome.
Yeah. I did a last minute troll where I did a stream because I had told people for 9 months that with like straight up, I'm not going to Tampa. And then right as everybody was leaving, I'm like, I'm on my way to Tampa. But I did a whole bit on my stream for like 15 minutes and I just played.
Yeah, so you had maps out and everything.
Yeah, I like tricked. I'm like, yeah, guys, I tricked you. I had this all planned. Me and Faye, we got a booth. We're gonna set up there. We got the hotel. We're ready to rock and roll. And then I played the Rickroll clip, So, I actually had to write Anna because she showed up during that stream, who's on the Jack show with me, and she was supposed to host, I think, that night. And we had a discussion like the day before where she was going to host. I'm like, yeah, I think you have to host. And then the very next day I did that prank, and Anna showed up, and I think she was mad in chat. And because she's like, oh, if I knew you were gonna go, I would have went. But I had to write her, in the Jack showroom, like, no, I'm not going. You have to host tonight. I'm not going anywhere.
Anna said she would have gone. She would have, headed down if you were gonna be there.
Yeah. No, we'll get next year, guys. I promise you, is the year of stuff happening for me getting out and seeing people again. So
Hey, John, weren't you going to go to Atlantic City? Were you scheduled before lockdown to go to AC with like
no, Ethan had some kind of meetup out there. I think this is way back with Nick Barucci or something like that. And I was just like, I was too busy.
Oh, this is like years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, I think I was fulfilling at that time. I'm just like, it's bad timing. Just like Tampa for me is just like, I'm busy right now. Like I got a lot of things going on. I'm trying to wrap a book. I'm trying to get fulfillment done. I got cards coming in. I'm just like, it's just bad timing. So, so they brought it up, and they were going to do some kind of big kind of meetup with Ethan and Barucci and maybe Tucci and several other people. But yeah, I just said before COVID even happened, I'm like, I just can't do it, guys. Sorry. So, but yeah. And people were like, oh, John doesn't go out to shows. I went to the first. I did the first show. The first show when Comicsgate-ish show, which was Bell County. So I went to that. Richard C. Meyer went to that. And I'm like, where were you guys? Where's everybody else at? Nobody, because that was when it was still dangerous. Now that it's cool, calm waters. Oh, John's afraid. John's afraid to go out to a convention. Now, shoot, I went when might have got shot. So
I remember that. Yeah. Wow. Jeez. Man, taking me back.
Yeah. So
I remember doing a show a week or so after I was getting death threats in August 2018. That was a fun show. Oh yeah. But man, oh man. As far as shows go, it's funny that you say about you're starting to get back into shows again, because my mindset on shows at this point, I'm starting to be just so done. I love meeting the fans and everything and talking to everybody and seeing all the other creators too, but there's a lot of regional shows that I used to do where it's like one by one it turned into, various different things happen at these shows. Most of it I try to keep behind the scenes to not dissuade anybody from attending or having a good time, but I gotta tell you, like I'm just done with a lot of it.
I think for me it's mostly cabin fever. Yeah, But also I know there's people out there that I want to be able to get out there and say hello to, not just like Anna, Cecil, Shane, Mandy,
totally.
These people. I all the YouTube people I definitely want to get out there and say hello to, and meet. But also all the fans out there. Like part of my campaigns have always been I offer like this black shirt, and people that buy this black shirt, it's promised that anytime you go to a convention where I'm at, basically it's going to be like on a Saturday, so everyone wear your black shirt on a Saturday, so it's got the Graveyard Shift logo, Godlike has a Godlike logo, but you wear that to a convention floor, I'm going to give you like a ticket or something like that, and then immediately after the show, we're going to just go to whatever, maybe the nearest bar. If I don't have something else planned, we'll just go to the nearest bar, and then I just buy everyone a beer. So, that might be 20 people. I buy your first beer. So as long as you're 21. So, but I've been selling these shirts now for 5 years. So there's people out there and that I need to get out there and say hello to, COVID put a big damper on a lot of the travel stuff. Yeah. But now here I am, we're on the other side of COVID, hopefully for good. And, I'm ready to get out there and say hello to people. And, but 2024 is the year. So in 2025, I don't know if I'll be doing anything, but 2024, like, it's happening. And that was the thing too, because I kind of put it off, like, well, we're doing For the Fans Fest, I'll wait for the Fans Fest, and then I'll meet everybody for the Fans Fest, but because that thing's kind of slipped, I'm just like, I need to do something on my own that is just, it's gonna happen, because I have my own I feel like I have my own responsibility to get out there to meet these high, because people to get those shirts, it's like a higher end backer, so these guys need to be thanked and shown that they're appreciated, and that I'm not just selling them a shirt and being like, I don't ever leave the house, because that's the joke. Malin never leaves the house. No, I do leave the house. So I left the house for the first convention. Where were you? Where were you?
Yeah, John, I have one of those T-shirts, so I'm looking forward to it. Round 2 is on me.
Beautiful, thank you for
fantastic.
That. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, so we'll definitely, if you're up for traveling wherever I may be at, Junior, we will definitely be meeting 2024 if you're up for traveling to where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm definitely up for it, man. I'll see you soon.
Cool, man.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much for your time tonight, buddy. Hope you have a great night.
Okay, thanks, Pete.
Oh, sorry for I called him Junior, but his name is Don't Call Me Junior.
I guess whatever. Hopefully.
Thank
hopefully
you.
he
Don't call
understands.
me. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Up next, we've got Ryan from Lion Mill Studio. What's up,
This
Ryan?
guy. He's got
Not
more.
too much. Hey, old Pete, how's it going?
Hey, you brought an oar to the chat. Amazing.
Right. I got my oar. I just want
Hell.
to say, Coach, it's nice to talk to you in person.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask two questions, and then I'll take my answers off the air. The first question is it a big problem being right all the time? And and are you tired of winning? Are you tired of that yet?
You must never be tired of winning. That's what I liked about when Trump was out there. Like you're gonna win so much, you're gonna say, please, no more winning. I said that to Shane for something not too long ago. But I'm like, you're gonna win tonight, Shane. Oh, because we were raising money. Oh, for Ethan's campaign. I'm like, Shane, you're staying on till 3 a.m. We're gonna do so much winning tonight. No, winning it can get tiring to win because it takes a lot of work to win. But yeah, do your best not to let up. And what was the first question?
I forgot the first question. Mostly about being right all the time.
Being right all the time. Yeah.
Is it a burden being right all the time?
Look, I'm definitely not right all the time. But when I am right, I like to make sure everyone knows it until they hate me.
Hell. All right. Thank you, Coach. I just wanted to ask those questions. Have a good day.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. Oh, man. We got a bunch of people here for you tonight. We got one more person here.
Wow, incredible.
Mysterious Mystery Man, you're on the show. What's your question or comment for John Malin?
Oh, I like the I there.
Oh, you're very faint.
Barely,
very,
yeah.
very low. I hear my echo a little bit more than I hear you.
Yeah, mute the tab that our audio is coming out of and turn your volume up.
Yeah.
Your gain.
Is that better?
Well, we still can't hear
Barely.
you.
Yeah, you're very, very low.
Yeah, but you go ahead. Just say it loudly, Mystery Man, and we should be all right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we heard that.
Seems to be a really bad delay.
Because he's listening from the tab.
Yeah.
Shit.
All right. I'm gonna have to let you go. I'm sorry.
Hey, he dropped an F-bomb. I haven't dropped an
Yeah,
F-bomb this
come
entire
on.
time.
Man, oh
Mystery
man.
Man, you
I swear.
You ruined this clean cut audio.
At least
Wow.
we were sort of talking over him, and he was very faint. So at least that probably ruined the likelihood of any virgin ears getting destroyed tonight. But
Jasper Plan 9 is I don't know if that's a direct quote, but he's saying from the other night, yeah, that was a good stream, Shane. Shane, haven't I done enough? John, no, you're doing enough. Stream until 3 a.m. Yeah, he had to stream till 3 a.m.
I don't know how you do that, man. I don't know how you do it. Is your sleep schedule completely off? Because I'm up
It's
still at
always
3 a.m. But yeah, I can't. I'm not intelligible on any level, way, shape, or form. I'd just be passing out.
It's always off. Sometimes 3 a.m. is too late. So, sometimes you got to just muscle through. And, for myself and for Shane, this is, should be considered our job. When Ethan needs a little extra help because maybe he's tuckered out and he's done all the promoting he can do and we can lift it up a little bit and promote whatever, then we should get in there and try to help out. When we can. So, and it's always better to have someone else streaming, so that I can get up and do whatever I want. If Shane walked away that night, I would have had to have streamed, and then I got to set up a stream. I got to find guests, but no, me and Shane, we did just fine. Keep Shane busy.
Yeah. He's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Right.
But sleep. Yeah, I sleep around the clock. So sometimes like right now, 9 is the time that I'm. Not that I'm sleeping now at 9, but like I'm waking up right now at 5 p.m. So I'm going to bed around 9 or 10 a.m. somewhere in there, and but it'll just get later and later, and then I'll be sleeping when we do like Comicsgate Kings, because that'll start at 7 p.m. and then that'll be where I'll be like, oh man, my sleep is really getting in the way. And then Jack Show will come up, and then Jack shows start at 11. Sometimes that'll be a time that I'm sleeping, and I just gotta crack myself out of it. So again, I see a lot of this stuff as like work. So you can have fun at work, but you still have to do your best to try to make sure these things are happening on a regular function. So Comicsgate Kings is essentially a 7 p.m. show. But that's why I made up Post Kings, because sometimes Comicsgate Kings just wouldn't go on. So I was like, okay, well, I'm already dedicating like a Monday for this stream, and if there's just no stream, then instead of sitting here and twirling my thumbs, I could get out there and I can do my own show to make sure that I'm out there talking to people. And Jack's show, now it has a huge audience. It didn't always have a huge audience. It used to be, 100, 200 people in there, which was definitely great at the time, and we felt like fucking rock stars. But
he did
now
it. He dropped the one.
Oh, did I? Oh, as soon as I was talking about rock stars, yeah, got me. All right, apologies, sorry.
It's okay. You get one.
But anyways, now we get like 1,500. 14 and 15 is like a really like everyone's really happening tonight. But the views stay, generally about 1,000 viewers by the time we end the show, and that could be a 4 or 5 hour show. So
wow,
that's a real like wow.
Holy smokes!
Look how well we built, over 5 years. So.
I've seen you drop the link every now and then, and I mean no disrespect of never joining, but I'm always like, I don't know if I could join and then just drop out after an hour. I mean, would you be pissed if I? Yeah, okay, all right.
No one's ever. We sometimes we have to tell people like, hey,
I can't stay there.
This thing goes like 4
in
hours.
The morning.
Like Billy pops in from time to time, and we're like, you don't have to be here all night, Billy. Oh, I don't. So. We don't want to, we know everyone has, other things going on in their schedules, but it's nice to get, another opinion in there from time to time, even if it's just for an hour, but yeah, normally we don't have anybody in there for like 10 minutes, but an hour. So.
All right, cool. All right. Yeah. Next time I see you pop that up, I'll jump on.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like we got Mysterious Mystery Man giving it one more shot. Let's see. And you can't use another F-bomb, my friend. Whoa, the audio's very loud now. What's going on? You're outside?
Hey, Pete, I just want to say I'm sorry about that.
Hey, no problem.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound good.
I can hear you now. Yeah, you sound fine.
Good enough. We can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Okay, John, so I have a question for you.
Sure.
You've probably been asked this, from your friends, from your family. But let's say you weren't married. Would you give no, wait, hold on. Would you give Irene a shot?
Would I give Irene a shot at me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
you don't have to answer that, John.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like a weird thing.
That's
like
a weird question.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, she's okay online.
No, answer it.
Yeah, she's okay online, but I don't know.
That's a yes. Okay, thanks, guys. See you later.
I wouldn't say yeah. Yeah, she's okay online, but
apologize.
Irene kind
for
of gets
that,
under
John.
my skin a little bit. Yeah.
I apologize for that, John.
Yeah.
What on earth was that? You get a chance to ask John Malin a question or give him a comment or just be like, hey, love what you're doing with your books, appreciate it. And you come on and you're like, hey, so do you want to get divorced today? Is essentially what that question means.
Yeah, you've been married over 23 years, but if you weren't, here's a question to make sure your wife says, fuck you. Or,
that's 2.
Yeah, oh gosh.
Right. I'll let that one go, though, because you know what? Like, Mysterious Mystery Man, what was that?
Yeah.
What was that? That is not a, no.
Yeah, look, personality goes a long ways. And Rini, her personality is bubbly, and that's fine. But other words, there's little things in her personality that irk me. And if I was to be hanging out with her, I would probably have to leave the room. So that's about as nice as I could say it. So
All right. Well,
you know, so
I appreciate you being nice about it, John.
yeah.
Man, oh man, that's yeah. All right, let's wrap the show up in a good way. Now, I had someone. I'm not going to take any more people joining the show because I do want to wrap this up in about 5 minutes, if we can. I saw Cole King asked a question earlier about writers. If you had advice for writers on how to have them break through and what they could do in terms of hiring talent and things like that they could find people, what would you recommend?
Breaking through as a writer, well, I mean, for me, it's writing my own stuff. But also, I think that's probably the right answer, right? I mean, that's something that when I was trying to break through as an artist, is the advice I always heard for writers was get something published, a book, so that way you can't, because a lot of people get accused of like taking ideas and stuff like that. So that way your idea is solidified in print. That gives actually you a little bit of protection. That it's your idea. So do something in print, I guess, and then if you're going to do anything, hand it off. And also that shows that you're willing to commit to something to get something done. Like I said, that's probably the biggest problem is you can always find people that can string together a few pages of something, but the long term to execute something at a high level, you want to show that. And as a writer, I would say that probably the best way of doing that is actually hiring a good artist to draw that project as well, because you want to be sure that you have everything working to carry somebody through that story, and then when they close that book, they know, oh, that was a good story, like that was good, like the entire experience was good. Todd McFarlane should say, like every criticism is like a bullet. You want to walk out of there with as few bullet holes as possible when you're getting your work reviewed or criticized. So yeah, everything up on par. And what was there another part to the question? Like,
I think it was just more about trying to find artists and things like that as well. Was the second
finding
part to
artists.
That. Yeah.
Back in the day, it used to be, things like digital webbing and pencil jack, these message boards. The artists were always sharing their stuff. I don't know if they're very highly functional now because Twitter and Facebook have come along.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with the Comicsgate community, I think that for us, basically, when we do streams, we just happen to meet people, but we also happen to see. Maybe somebody drew something for Mandy, right? Like maybe Mandy brought in somebody and you're like, oh, that looks pretty good. Basically, the best advice for finding talent, I'd say, is swim in Rob Arnold's wake. Anytime Rob Arnold finds a new talent, poach him. Poach him from Rob. And that's what I do. I wait for Rob Arnold to show me new talent, and then I'd say, "Oh, okay, that's a colorist I can."
He's your unofficial talent scout.
Yeah. So like even on the Godlike supplemental, was it the Western story? I think it was. I think that's Jesse Higie, and Rob Arnold had shown me work that Jesse Higie colored, and I go, "That's nice, Rob. Who's that colorist?" It's like, oh, that's Jesse Higie. Yoink. I might swoop in there. See if I can give this guy some work. So, yeah, find people that are really good at finding talent too. But I mean, basically from YouTube. I mean, you're gonna get exposed through YouTube channels when you're following comic skaters. At least they're gonna be telling you about artists that they found. And most artists are hireable. So when you see an artist that you like that's working for someone like Rob Arnold, you find them on like Twitter or something like that, and then you approach them with like your job offer, whatever that is. How many pages is it? What kind of story is it going to be? The genre, and what their page rate is. Hey, what's your page rate? That's the easiest thing to ask somebody. Hey, I got a project. Are you interested? And it's sci-fi. Blah 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 blah. What's your page rate? And if they are interested, then they'll give you a page rate, and then you have to go from there. But when you go through the crowdfunding system, also keep in mind that you don't necessarily have to hire an artist to draw 22 or 48 pages out the gate. You probably want to hire somebody to do 4 or 5 really good pages and base your crowdfund off of that. So then if it gets funded, then you can use that money to pay for the remainder of the story. But you got to be sure that writer, or I'm sorry, that artist is willing to stick around, and agree to that deal. So, but for the most part, if they got talent and if they like to get the work done, and you'll find out who does or doesn't as you talk to more and more people that have worked with, like Rob Arnold could tell you what so-and-so's kind of behavior is. And most people, I think Rob Arnold say, they're disloyal because they keep running to John when he poaches them. So, yeah, but
he's got a good eye for talent, huh?
Keep your eye. Yeah. I mean, that's how it's mainly happening now. Otherwise, I guess probably Facebook message boards maybe are still a thing. People are sharing comic book artwork out there. I know Deviant Art used to be a thing too, but I don't know if that's I think just mainly it's on Facebook and Twitter, and because artists are always sharing work on Twitter.
Yeah, they really are. Mm-hmm. And conversely for artists too, I think something that's really great is if you want to work with specific people, draw their character and show them, what that would look like, as opposed to say, draw Spider-Man and then tag him in it. So if you see a character and you want to get work from this person, do your best take on their character and show them that. But John, thank you so much, man. It's been great talking to you tonight. And we did one of these 2 years ago, and I'm not going to let 2 years pass again before we do another conversation. The one we had 2 years ago is still one of my favorite conversations ever. It was a 3-hour conversation. If you guys want to catch up on that, the time flew by, and this has been an hour and 40, but that 3-hour convo was great, and people really enjoyed it. They got a lot of great, solid information from you about everything comics and what you went through coming up in the industry, and then also good advice for them too. So if you guys want to check that one out, you want to get a really in-depth interview with John, that's on my channel. You could just go to the live shows and then click popular. I think it's like the 4th or 5th one. But John, tonight was great. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. I'd love to have you on again. We'll do it again soon. And everybody in the chat, thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed the show, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. We do a lot of shows like this. We have a lot of different creators on the show for interviews and whatnot and conversations. If you enjoy comics, if you enjoy the paranormal, you'll enjoy these shows. And by all means, please go check out Godlike. It is currently funding right now on Indiegogo. 12 days left. 12 days, not 14.
Yep, 12 days, and we'll do an extension. It might be 2 weeks. It might be 30-day extension. Like I said, we're going to wait and see where it lands at. And
you broke 53. Great.
Hey, look at that. Thank you very much, guys, for checking this project out.
There you go. Wonderful. And then also King Cryptid. We've got this on Alterna and on Indiegogo. The Indiegogo half of it is at 8,872. The Alterna half of it is at 10,000 something. We got 19,302 raised with 423 total backers on board. This has got 29 hours left before we go in demand, and it'll be in demand for about a year or so. But go check that out if you enjoy monsters, mysteries, cover-ups, and conspiracies. Thank you guys very much for watching tonight. And John, again, thank you so much for the great conversation. Really appreciate it. And before we go, anything you want to say to the people at home watching?
No, thank you, Pete, for having me on here. Again, apologies for missing out on Friday. And, guys, I see people are asking me to stream on Rumble. Yeah, I can go over there and stream on Rumble. So, check me out. If you're not subscribed to me, go to @JonMalin on Twitter, and that's where you get most of my info from.
All right, there you go. Everybody have a great night, and see you in a couple of days. We got a packed week this week. See you then.